Gaff, first of all, your comments on Kid getting a contract extension this morning.
Oh, my biggest congrats to him. I mean, obviously well deserved. One of the, I would say, best coaches this year from what I've been seeing. Just, real poised. He knows how to really assert himself, assert the dominance in the locker room when it comes to whenever we need to get our heads on straight. But in all honesty, just biggest congrats to him. Like I said, well deserved. Something I'm pretty sure he's been working towards for the longest. I can't wait for what's next for the team, most definitely.
What are some of the ways that he has helped you become a better player?
In all honesty, just, really just, I would say, trying to give me as much confidence as he possibly can. At the end of the day, there's times where, I've shown a lot of frustration and shown my feelings on my sleeve out on the court. At the end of the day, I got teammates that, that always push me to try to get myself out of the funk, but he does the same thing too. And he tells me to just keep going, keep doing the things that I'm doing on an elite level and just kind of be consistent with it. So that's some of the main things. It's pretty much the best advice he can give me at this point right now.
As someone who's going to be matched up against Chet, what are the differences going against him versus going against Zubats?
Well, Chet, he stretches the floor a lot more. He's a more dynamic guy. Zubac, he was more of a back to the basket, bang, bang, bang under the basket. So for sure, I'm gonna be saving just some of the upper body and stuff this round for sure, because just with the last series, it was just the physicality was through the roof, and I know for a fact it's not gonna be any different with this team. They're a young, scrappy team, so we just got to come out prepared. In all honesty,
you had big games when 2 times you guys played the Thunder after the trade deadline. What do you remember about playing in those games and how you were successful and just about how the team was successful overall?
I try to forget the second one because I missed my Will Chamberlain record. But in all honesty, I just go out and just do my job at the end of the day. With as much attention and I would say gravity that Luka and Kyrie pulls towards them, it just kind of like opens the floor up for anybody out there. At the end of the day, I would say it's gonna be a real good series for the bigs to just go out and just kind of like set the tone physically. Because once we set the tone physically, I feel like we'll be in a good place for sure.
And let's be honest, you got fouled on that one that broke the record.
Man, look, you can say that. I can't. They might find me.
2 months ago, they're gonna find you.
You never know, man. Look, oh man.
Anything else?
Daniel, how important will the lob attack be against this Thunder team?
It'll be real important. Just keeping our spacing and just, getting downhill. I would say they pack the paint a lot with this team that we're going to go play, and we just got to make sure we make the right decisions down the stretch to kind of like, keep us from having turnovers, keep us poised, and really just help us. I'll find some type of way to just help us execute consistently down the stretch.
Daniel, how much concentration has there been on being strong with the ball against these guys because they force more turnovers than anybody else? Get more points off turnovers.
100%. Like that's just like I would say that's kind of like the first thing that was said today. They swipe at the ball all the time, whether you're big or small. If you're going into the paint, you better go in there and make sure you finish, or you just make sure you just redrive and throw it out to anybody that's out on the perimeter to be ready to shoot. Because at the end of the day, trying to make sure we take care of the ball is kind of like our main goal. Just with a team like this, they ranked high in steals with at least I would say, maybe 3-4 players on their team. So we just have to make sure that we kind of like take care of everything when it comes to just like our execution offensively.
What would you say is the one thing you learned from that Clipper series that you can take into this series against OKC?
Just physicality at the end of the day and just being early, making sure guys hear us. Because I know it's going to be real crazy going into this OKC crowd. It's going to be real loud. So we just got to make sure when it comes to our principles that we know at the end of the day, because there's going to be a lot of coverage that's probably going to get messed up because of the simple fact that they're not going to be able to hear us on the backside. But in all honesty, just the physicality and the energy. They're going to come out head full of steam. They had a great last series against the Pelicans. So, they got a chip on their shoulder for sure. So they're going to come out swinging, and we got to do the same thing.
Shea's obviously not going to be your primary matchup, but rim protection is critical against a guy like that. What do you guys need to do to keep him from getting in the groove?
To really just be as vertical as possible consistently, don't fall for pump fakes, and stay out of foul trouble, in all honesty. Trying to do our best. At the end of the day, trying to protect the basket of guys that predominantly always go down to the basket trying to finish around the rim. That's just like our main thing. Just staying poised and just staying together. Communication is key.
What's the impact of being without Maxey, and what does that mean for what you need to do?
It just gives everybody else the opportunity to step up in his place and just kind of like pick up where he left off. He went down tough. It's really just tough to just even think about it in all honesty because the last 2 games of the Clippers series he was real big. Most definitely. And to just really just pick up where he left off, we just have to keep that energy into how he impacted the game. That's then the last 2 games of that series for sure.
How much stock do you guys put in the fact that the one game that Luka and Kyrie both played against this team, you guys beat them by 35?
I don't think anybody. In all honesty, I don't think anybody has really even said anything about it.
That
Really,
was your
you
first
know.
game.
Yeah, I know. I know. What's crazy is, we just put the clips together and just really just find ways to just implement what their tendencies are and just find ways to just kind of like prevent that. In all honesty, try to be consistent and just trying to kind of like piggyback off of what we did when we won against them in the past and just implement that into these next few games that we got against them.
So when everybody's talking about like the change that the team made after the trade deadline, they talk about the trades for you and for PJ, and those 2 names get put together so much that it's like I think we almost forget that you guys are on completely different teams.
Yeah, but I think we started look alike too.
So obviously like you weren't teammates before the deadline, but I'm curious. Is there any sort of bond or anything that developed between you guys, both coming into the same situation and experiencing the same turnaround, not being a part of it from the beginning of the season?
With me and PJ, we played against each other during AAU ball all the time. He was on Team Penny, I was with the Arkansas Wings. So I had a fair amount of times where I was always, I would say, in the same gym as him, majority of the time. So, I would say we somewhat created a bond because he went to Kentucky, I went to Arkansas. We was always in the same gym at one point in time throughout our career. So just being on the same team now is just like, it was like, I can't even think of the phrase of it. We'll come back to it, but but it's just, I would say, I wouldn't say it's destined, but it was at pretty much the right time. In all honesty, we both were put in a position to be able to take that next step forward in our career, and we just, took advantage of that and just worked hard and just was ready for that. I would say next step. It's always one door closes and another door opens.
And was there any help? Like, did you guys kind of, as you were trying to figure out, pick out the schemes, especially the first few weeks, was it? Did you guys kind of bounce stuff off each other? Was there any ability to kind of help each other out in that way?
Yeah, in some instances, yes, because when we first got here, they got us in the gym. They taught us all the schemes, the calls, the plays, so on and so forth. And then if one was confused, we always helped each other out at the end of the day, or we just asked questions. No, pretty much no question is the worst question.
Daniel, I heard you say that OKC is a young and scrappy team, but I'm also hearing how much you guys are preparing for them. What does it say about the respect level that you guys have for your opponent, knowing that they're a little bit younger?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're an NBA team, and they're one of the top NBA teams this season. So we just have to, for sure, just come out and be ready for a dogfight, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing all the dog barking and stuff once we get there at the end of the day. So, we just have to be ready to come out and just be ready to go blow for blow. Play by play, we just have to just come out and just play with just like that edge to just come out and try to win basketball games.